A moment to reflect as the AU anthem was played, among a group of diplomats acknowledged for its strong voice in the anti-apartheid cause at the United Nations in the years when it mattered most.
The person that we are talking about was of Sadic extraction, and he personified forgiveness, reconciliation, racial inclusion, humility, servanthood. These are virtues that you cannot readily attain, but there he was, a man of African origin. He answered the critics who say, what good can come out of Africa? Here we are.
The group expressed its condolences to the family of Madiba, South Africa, Africa and the world at large. The AU spoke of the collective Madiba was party to.
Mandela was no lone ranger, and his political life cannot be separated from the ANC and his colleagues, and the principles they stood for, which they made an effort to implement without allowing their very justified anger, born of the so many slights and indignities, to cloud their political judgment, which counseled pragmatism and political realities, national and global.
And as has become customary when honouring Madiba, this was an occasion not just to mourn his life, but to celebrate his legacy.
Never swayed or attuned to the complexities of history and circumstances, but guided and driven by the genuine desire of forgiveness and the powerful commitment to universal rights and equality. A choice he made early on, emphasizing duties that hold the society together, deliberately inculcating a moderate path, ever conscious of the dangers of unintended consequences.
South Sudan's representative reminisced about a dinner he hosted in Cape Town several years ago, where Madiba was among the guests, with then wife-to-be Graça Machel.
Discussion at dinner was Mandela saying how unfair the world had been to African leaders, that in his experiences there were great leaders in Africa, and yet the world looks on Africa as not offering any leadership. Many of our colleagues there began to argue with him, saying that he was just too good a person and therefore he did not recognize the serious flaws in the leadership of Africa. The discussion went on, and I was personally sympathetic to his point of view. But at one point he got somewhat restless and wanted to leave. And he said, let me tell you that every human being, however bad a person is, by virtue of being a human being, there is some goodness in them. And if you want to deal with them, to solve problems, you have to tap the goodness in a person. To me, I thought this was a very profound humanistic approach to people.
One of many stories that now litter the landscape of his life. The AU tribute capping off a week of events in the United States that have sought to, in some small measure, honour a great life. And as the focus now firmly shifts to the funeral and burial in Qunu on Sunday, the United Nations will again honour Nelson Mandela in a special sitting of the General Assembly on Thursday next week. Sherwin Briceby's SABC News, New York.